Hello all. In this video tutorial, we will be learning about functions. We will try to cover the definition of function, ways of representing functions, and ways of identifying functions in different situations. So let's just quickly start with the definition of function. Um, we have, let's say, two sets, A, and the elements are 1, 2, 3, and so on. And we have another set B, and the elements are, let's say, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Now, a function is a way to represent relation between two sets. Okay, so I'm just writing a mathematical equation, y equals x plus 2. This equation can be used to relate A with B. Okay, so I can also write y equals f of x equals x plus 2. Now, this is a mathematical way of saying y is a function of x. Okay, in other words, you can say that y depends on x. So if one variable depends on another variable or variables, so it will be function of that variable or those variables. Okay, so in this case, y is a function of x. So that's why I've written f of x. So this is one way to represent function f of x. All right. Now, I'm going to write all the values of input and output in the form of a table, okay, to show you something. So the x values are 1, 2, and 3, and the y values are 3, 4, and 5. So when you substitute 1 in the equation, you get 3. When you substitute 2, you get 4, and when you substitute 3, you get 5. So as you can see, for every unique input, you get a unique output. So this is the defining criteria for the functions. They produce unique output for given input. Now I'm going to write functions in the form of ordered pair. All right, so I'm just using the same representation, f of x equals, and I'm going to write it in the form of an ordered pair. So for 1, it's 3. For 2, it's 4. And for 3, it's 5, and so on. So a set of ordered pair can also be used to represent the functions, like this one. Now, here's a task for you. I'm going to write a set of ordered pair, and you have to guess whether this is a function or not, okay? Considering the defining criteria for the function. So let's say for 1, it's 5. Okay, for 1 it is, let's say, 8, and for 2, let's say it is 10. Now, will this be a function or not? So if you guess, or if you identified that this is not a function based on the defining criteria, which says that function always produces unique output for the given input. In this case, we have, let me just quickly change the color. Okay, so in this case, we have output of 5 for 1, and we have output of 8 for 1. So we have two different outputs for a single input, which is not the case for the function, or which is not a function itself. So this one is a function, and this one is not a function. So you will be given ordered pair to identify whether the given set of ordered pair is a function or not. Now, there's one more situation where you will be asked to identify whether this is a function or not. So I'm going to draw a graph. Okay, this is y-axis and this is x-axis, and I'm drawing a circle. Okay, so if you're asked this question whether this graph represents a function or not, so how would you identify? So it is again based on the defining criteria for the function, that function always produces one output for one input. Okay, so in this case, if you draw a vertical line intersecting the circle at two different points, okay, so this vertical line is intersecting the circle at two different points, okay. So this, for this value of x, let's say this is 2. For this value of x, we have two different values of y. Okay, so this is y1 and this is y2. We have two different values of y for one value of x. Okay, which is not the definition, which is not valid according to the definition of function. So this one is not a function. Now, what if I draw another graph? Okay, and in this case it's like this, and if you draw a vertical line, it will only intersect the graph at one point. No matter wherever you draw the vertical line, it will always intersect at one point. So this one will be a function, because for one value of x you have only one value of y. So the trick is, if a graph is given, you just have to draw a vertical line. If the vertical line intersects at one point only, it will be a function. If it intersects at multiple points, it will not be a function. Okay, so let me just quickly zoom out so that I can use the space. Okay, so there's one more situation where you will be asked to identify the given equation is a function or not. Okay, so for instance, if you're given this one, x squared plus y squared equals, let's say, 4. Now, in this case, you simply have to use basic algebraic functions. Okay, so y squared equals 4 minus x squared, and taking square root both sides will give you plus minus square root of 4 minus x squared. Now, if you will substitute 1, okay, in place of x, so 4 minus 1, 1 squared is 1, 4 minus 1 is 3. So you will be getting two different values of y. You substituted x equals 1 and you're getting plus under root 3 and minus under root 3. So these are the two different values of y. That means these are the two different outputs. So for one input, we are getting two different outputs. This means this is not a function. So we discussed what is a function. We discussed ways of representing function, and we also discussed how to identify functions if an ordered pair is given, if a graph is given, or an equation is given. So we discussed definition, ways of representation of function, and ways of identifying function. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.